Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and we're going to be comparing some gimmicks. First, hit the like button real quick for me, and then subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And let's talk about two gimmicks from Marc Mero. First, his WCW gimmick of Johnny B. Bad, and then his WWF gimmick of the Wild Man, Marc Mero. So if you're unfamiliar with Johnny B. Bad, Johnny B. Bad was essentially Little Richard. And he wore a boa, he wore lipstick, eyeshadow, makeup. That was sort of the character. This character was created, I think, in the early 90s. I can't give you an exact date because my WCW history is not that good. But you could, if you watch any early WCW pay-per-views, maybe 90s, early 91, 92, you probably saw a lot of Johnny B. Bad. He he wore a lot of tassels. So the character was kind of an exotico, it was based heavily off the rock and roller Little Richard. The you know, so it was very flamboyant, very much like an exotico in Mexico or Goldust or Adrian Street or somebody like that. But it probably wouldn't have fly. It wouldn't fly today because Little Richard is black. So and Marc Mero is not. So this character certainly wouldn't fly today. At least I don't believe Marc Mero was black. I believe Marc Mero was Italian. I see a lot of people, playing the whole blackface card for Marc Mero. But he was sort of successful as Johnny B. Bad. And Johnny B. Bad is actually what got him a job in the WWE. Because as Bruce Pritchard has said in his podcast, that Vince McMahon saw Johnny B. Bad, just kind of saw him, I guess it would have been probably obviously in the early 90s, but it probably would have been somewhere around 93, 94. And decided to bring in Marc Mero. But since WCW owned the gimmick, he couldn't do Johnny B. Bad. So Vince McMahon made him the Wild Man, Marc Mero. Now, the Wild Man has two separate incarnations. That is the original incarnation of the Wild Man, Marc Mero, which is what is on the placard. It is the black with the lion or the leopard prints. Wow, that Marc Mero, and that's it's sort of like I don't want to say Tarzan, but I think that's probably the best way to look at it. Is he's supposed to be like a jungle man, where he's supposed to be like a wild cat. Like I guess it's supposed to be like a play on his agility. And of course he did the wild thing, which was shooting star press. So I think he did that later. He did that in the second incarnation of the Wild Man, which was basically Randy Savage, and that's when he started wearing the robes and everything. That was closer to Johnny B. Bad. Is the second incarnation of the Wild Man. I think he might have had a knee surgery or something, and he disappeared for a while. And then when he came back, he was wearing the flowing robes, and he still had Sable, but now Sable was more jazzed up. I mean, she was more colorful, and the character took on more color, and that was essentially the Wild Man. And then, of course, there's no point in even talking about Marvelous Marc Mero because we already know that was awful. That was awful. But Johnny B. Bad played very heavily on Marc Mero's toughness, meaning that even though he looked like, what he looked like, let's put it like, he looked like a drag queen, if we're being honest. Even though he looked like a drag queen, I constantly talk about his boxing skills because he had legitimate boxing skills. And his finisher was actually a left hook, which I really personally don't really care for punch finishers. But he's a boxer, so I guess it makes sense that he would, the character didn't get anywhere. Johnny B. Bad. He never. I think he was a TV champion, maybe, and I don't think he ever went beyond that. But he was. I think he was mostly. Again, my WCW history is not that good, so I couldn't tell you how super over he was as a babyface or a heel or anything like that. I remember I did see that he had Theodore Long for his manager when he was a heel. And of course, these characters, these sort of exotico type characters, almost always heels first. It's just easier to get over because you can play on people's homophobia, so it's easier to get over. But so I couldn't tell you, but I couldn't really tell you how popular he was as a babyface because I really wasn't, WCW wasn't really my thing. But I do remember seeing enough Johnny B. Bad to know that, and even going back, I don't go back to look specifically for him, but he's mostly on pay-per-views that I've seen. And the look of the character is interesting. It's eye-catching, that's for sure. And he played the character decently. He looks a lot like Little Richard from what they did. They made him look like Little Richard. But I was actually pretty cool with Wildman Marc Mero. I thought that was fun, especially when they started doing basically Randy Savage with him. They decided to just make a distaff Randy Savage. Like we lost Macho Man, so we got a guy, a young guy, Italian guy. Oh, Randy Savage was young and Italian at one point. We're just gonna make him Randy Savage, and I think they could have did something with it if they gave him more opportunities. And that's really kind of the one thing that I think Mr. Vince Russo kind of screwed up. And I think Marc Mero was the kind of character that people would have liked had he been put in those positions. Now his promos were not strong, obviously, but I think that them deciding to just bury Marc Mero and push Sable actually did a lot more damage. But if you just kept the flowing robe as Marc Mero, you could have put him somewhere near the main event as a top high flying babyface. It probably would have worked. I think Sean probably would have put the screws to him, but you still could have tried it. You still could have tried it. You probably, it would have been nice. It would have been a nice little different position for him to be in. But I definitely think they missed the boat on the second incarnation of Marc Mero. The first incarnation that busted Steve Austin's mouth open, that was undercard stuff. He was still pretty well pushed, but it wasn't really going anywhere. And Johnny B. Bad had no future. I just didn't see how he could go on because, right around the time he left, it was around the time, the NWO was about to start. So Johnny B. Bad probably wasn't going to work unless he was going to get completely humiliated and made fun of all the time. And that character could work in WWE because they already started doing it with Goldust. But let me know what you guys think. Did you prefer, if you were a WCW fan, did you prefer Johnny B. Bad or did you prefer Wildman Marc Mero? And any thoughts that you might have on Marvelous Marc Mero, because I think he's not even worth discussing. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like this video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll talk to you guys later.